Hey everybody, Sean R2 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We last left off, we found out about a mysterious bouquet that had somehow changed position on the street, or maybe it was the body who had changed position on the street. Let's continue and see what this is really about. Patricia says, but it is a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back. Good grief. Rest assured that I shall do my very best not to forget Miss Beat. She's talking about the rose, which they call a bouquet, but it's just one rose. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment. Sigh. Nothing strange to report on that front. Sigh.
Hold it!
You moved the body. Nothing to report. That's correct, Sigh. I had my eyes wide open the entire time, never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. I could swear to that on the yard's honor, Sigh. Really, seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, Sigh. Strange, Sigh? Seems all regular to me. Burnt copy of Lion's Pride was originally in the Garrett household, so the question remains, how did it find its way? I'm skipping past this because we've already heard this. Can you shed any light on that, seeing as how you were at the scene of the crime? Different copy, he says. Okay, so we've already done that. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you make of all this? Yes. The whole idea of an invisible attacker has been troubling me all along, but I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened here now. The fourth book that had no business being at the scene of the crime made me sure that Mrs. Garrideb was hiding something from us, but it's becoming increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. I think I may already be armed with everything I need to strike a decisive blow here. This time, it's going to expose the whole truth about this mysterious affair. This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb. Windows in the top floor, open hinge casement. Obviously thrown out, we would have seen it. Trusty husband Roly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I feel like he did disturb it. So, like I said before, I want to say that he moved the body. But I don't know how to clearly say that he moved the body. Because the evidence we have that the body was moved well, the evidence that we have that the body was moved is this rose. And then we also have here where it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. I feel like it was discovered within his beat. I did leave the scene to go fetch help, and my trusty Roly's there to make sure nothing was disturbed. That's when something was disturbed. What happened was I dropped my bouquet and it ended up losing my way for a while. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, nothing strange to report. So, like I said, how do I say that the crime scene wasn't disturbed? Really, all we can do is present. Let's think about this. First statement, he says it has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb. Believe me, the London Bobby is good for his word. But you say that it has nothing to do with them because you don't want to investigate something on their doorstep. So this is false. It does have something to do with them because of the book. Right? Oh, we also have the case file which says that the border runs down the middle of Briar Road. Didn't we hear much earlier that it's easier to walk on the road than it is the sidewalk because of the way that the snow is pushed over? Man, how do we... Let's look at the street map. Yeah, so we have... This is where they were found. And this is the house. Here's the books. He may have been coming this way. Alright. Well, we're going to do a few of them. Let's save it real quick. Just because I know what I'm trying to say. I don't know the best way to say it within the confines of how this game is played. So let's go for it. Save it. Okay, go back. I'm going to press this again real quick because they make remarks when something doesn't set right with them. So I'm just going to skip through the dialogue. Okay, so he's talking about the book that we have, the warrant card. They're getting all lovey-dovey. Okay, so how can you say that it's not Mr. and Mr. Garadeb aren't involved? Okay, so that doesn't say anything in that statement. Top hinge casements are how we know that things are dropped. If anything had been thrown out, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene, but Roly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. So that's the one we're going to press. Let's talk about this. Oh, no, not examine it. Let's present it.
Objection!
Let's just consider the implications of that statement for a moment. This is not right because the screen didn't shatter. What implications, counsel? Nothing strikes me about it. Exactly. There's nothing striking about it. What strikes me is your propensity for the inane, however. Ugh. I need to clear my head and come at this again from a different angle. Okay, so it's not that statement. What happened was I dropped move K and ended up losing my way for a while. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment. Nothing strange to report. That one might be it. Let's present this. It's not even strange to report the bouquet.
Objection!
You claim, Constable Beat, there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be. What do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime, with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby. Okay, so I think we chose the right one.
Objection!
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of the meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs. Man, why are you hating on that flower so much? Meager?
Objection!
But if that were the case, Why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Roly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. Look at his face. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. B's bouquet, there's Mr. Garrideb's book, Mr. Garrideb's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife. Would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them. What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Roly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Wittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh, good. Mrs. Garrideb's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garrideb. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called tampering, Mr. Naruhodo. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? Why, none other than Roly Beat. Present.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Roly Beat. It was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? What nonsense. Why would my Roly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London. Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
If that were true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Miss Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Arg. Well.
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. Proof? Are you talking about proof? You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something. That's right, he's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense. You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scenes of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair. Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery? I think I have. Counsel, you've made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. We gotta pick it. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide where the victim fell. So he wanted to be in a different beat. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know. That's certainly what everyone's been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What? They're wearing the same scarf, I just noticed that. I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end. Counsel? If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening? Like here? Here-ish? Present? It's close enough, right? But that's on the opposite side of the road? I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garadeb's book fell directly down from the open window above. And your bouquet, Miss Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious.
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place. That's right, I saw it with my own eyes. It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road. No, that's not true. It can't have been. Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing. What? What did he overlook? Your bouquet. The bouquet, I presume? Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zyke said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Roly Beat? Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? Oh, Roly. It isn't true, is it? What that lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed. Only, it seems it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly, Miss Molly. This court is a folly. Order, order, order. What on earth is the meaning of all of this? Oh, Roly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it? Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town. He wanted to go on that date with his wife for his anniversary. I can't say so. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything. I have a possible explanation. For why, on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason. What? What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Van Zykes, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. Exclamation point. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you'd better show us some evidence. At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's action. What gives away the motives for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? So, we have a few things here. This states that you must investigate if it's found on your beat. This states where his beat is. This states his love for his wife, which would be his emotions. So I'm going to say this. It may be wrong, and we'll go to one of the other two if that's the case.
Take that!
I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I've only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat, in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord. Oh yes, it was our very first wedding anniversary. Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Miss Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind? But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. This is the warrant card that Constable Pete offered to lend me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime scene is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat. Is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Yes. Everything you said, it's all right. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat. Oh, exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Good gracious. Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Jesus. We just went full on dark right here. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? Why? It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This was the next beat to mine, Pat, so you'll have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Meerschaum Street and then... Everybody's so solemn. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted, just that one night, to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, Roly. Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street, to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. You see, I thought, well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon? Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Roly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement. Ah, I see your meaning now. But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Roly, that was all my fault. I should never have dropped it in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Roly. And can you tell us, Constable, how many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total? Huh? Oh, 4 it was. Yes, definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th? being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garadeb household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. How you found it? What do you mean? When we first ran over to the scene. And we will continue this next episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.